Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dottie Lofstrom. It's Wednesday, December 13th at 2:30 p.m. And this is the December meeting of the Civil Service Commission, and I call this meeting to order.
Okay, roll call. Commissioner Lofstrom.
Here.
Commissioner Gutierrez.
Here.
Commissioner Lee.
Here.
Commissioner Arulapan did not respond, so we're going to, at this point, mark him absent unless he arrives late.
Okay, we'll move on to our first order of business, which is approval of the minutes. Does anyone have any comments or any edits?
I do. I would like to see an addition to it, where that's where I'm discussing with District Attorney Freitas. I'd like to add that District Attorney Freitas expressed that the job task of interpreting laws should be left to the courts. If there's no objection to that, I would move that we approve the minutes with that in it.
I would object to that, actually, and there's two reasons for that. One reason is that the minutes are a legal document subject to public record, as you know.
Yes.
And that they're supposed to be concise and not have extra information. But the primary objection I have is that particular discussion was moving away from the agenda. What we were doing was approving, and I'm going to get this wrong because I had it mixed up then, the lieutenant, let me look, the district attorney investigator 3 to district attorney investigative lieutenant, and amending the class spec for district attorney investor. And the discussion you had with Mr. Freitas did not fall under the agenda. Therefore, I would not support adding the information you just included.
Well, I think it's very important because it's a part of the record, and it'll help us in future when we're making decisions about what tasks should be put onto on our employees, what listed tasks. So I'd ask for a second to my amendment. We can then vote.
Well, I'm not quite ready to complete the discussion yet. The other reason that I would not feel comfortable putting this on is that you didn't really give the full context to Mr. Freitas. You provided information and you led him in a certain direction without really telling him the context. And so therefore, I wouldn't support it. But I want to be clear, the primary reason is, and this is important for future too, we have an agenda, we need to stick to the agenda. That's part of the Brown Act. And it's important not to go to another subject.
The only thing the minutes are on the agenda, and I think that I want to make sure that the minutes are clear. Now, I understand that our meetings are taped, and they are a part of the record. They're a part of our record, and that there is available for anybody that wanted the record, because that's a public record. Our minutes, and it was very clear in the minutes what he said, and I would like to see it here too.
Okay, well, there is a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
No, I'm not in agreement to that because of the legal impact that it would. I don't think that's fair to the district attorney to hold him to a legal record that he was not fully aware of the backstory of the conversation. I think that if that's a conversation to have with him, we would probably need to have that with his foreknowledge of the full impact of the conversation. I would feel more comfortable with that.
Okay, so we could invite him some other time. Okay, we can put that on the agenda for the future. All right, I'll withdraw my motion then.
All right then. So do I hear a motion to approve the minutes? As
I
written.
so motion.
Okay, is there a second? I will second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say no?
Opposed?
Okay, so we have a quorum, and so the motion passed. We can now move forward with the classification project on the Veteran Services Office.
Is it on? Okay, good. Hi. So my name is Karen Watson, and I am new to the classification and compensation team. So just wanted to introduce myself in case you're wondering who is up here. So I'm here to present the new classification for supervising veteran service representative and an amendment to the Veteran Service Representative 2. So the Veteran Service Office is a division of the Healthcare Services Agency. The Veteran Services team serves as an advocate on behalf of veterans and their families through counseling, education, and benefit assistance. As a result of new federal legislation, which expands coverage to more veterans, the division has noticed an increase in demand for services. In response and anticipation of this, the Veteran Services Office reviewed the current staffing model and requested Human Resources to create a new classification, and they looked for a supervisor role above the Veteran Services representatives. The Veterans Service Representative, tongue tire, the supervising veteran service representative will be responsible for providing oversight and coordination of the day-to-day operations. In addition, this position will be responsible for providing on-the-job training to staff for state and federal accreditation exams. This will also allow them to expand services to rural families in the way of, and also the transportation challenged and housebound veterans. Upon insertion of an additional supervisory level, amendments were made to the Veterans Service Representative 2 accordingly. Human Resources has shared the draft of this classification specification for supervising Veteran Service Representative and the amended Veteran Service Representative 2 with SEIU on November 20th, and the union responded that it had no objections. We have our Veteran Service Office Deputy Director, Susan Ferry, on the line as well for any further questions. Any questions?
Does anyone on the commission have a question that they would like to ask of Ms. Watson?
So I have the duties that are listed here under reasons for recommendation. Who's currently filling those slots for those duties now?
The Deputy Director.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Lee, could you pull your microphone a little closer so we make sure we get the recording?
You want me to yell louder?
Thank you.
Sorry about that. And in your second paragraph, it says fill in a gap. Where is this supervisor role going to fall in?
The gap is the training for the most part. So the training was a huge portion of that. The other portion of it is then to expand services to reach the homebound and that I talked about in here. The homebound, transportationally challenged and rural families. So it's going to expand there. They're also going to do, I think I talked about the Veterans Court activities that this supervisor will be doing. They'll be doing some administrative roles that will take that off of the deputy director and free her up to do more deputy director type duties.
Can you define that?
The deputy director duties?
If I could,
I'm going to let Susan talk about her duties.
Okay.
Susan, are you there?
yes, hello, commission, and just for the record, I've driven back to my office. My office is by the King's Card Room, so please don't think I'm in the King's Card Room, but it's actually right from me, or if you see it in the picture. So, the other primary role for this supervisory position that's really needed is, we are expanding our services. So when I first got to the office about a year and a half ago, we only had 2 full-time people for 30,000 veterans in the area. We were critically understaffed. As an example, Santa Cruz County has 12 folks to serve, plus a deputy director and a supervisor, and we only had 2. So we are growing our staff to serve the significant needs in our county. And to that end, one of the ways that one of the new pieces that I'd like to add is doing satellite offices, doing a circuit ride, which means that I'd be placing some of my veteran service reps in different areas of the counties where the veterans, so for instance, we might have a day where we're at a Lodi post. We might have another day we're at Delta College or University of Pacific. We might have another day where we're out closer to some of the more rural areas. So the other reason I need the supervisor is to help me supervise all of these satellite locations we're going to have as well. And with only one of me, for instance, I need to go to trainings and conferences and a whole bunch of things. Right now, it's my admin staff that then become in charge of the office when I'm gone. And as an example, I just took my first week off of vacation since I started the job, and I needed to go in at least 3 times during the week, and one was to, like, as an example, do time cards. So most importantly, that supervisor is going to help provide the really intensive training needed to help the VSR ones, the Veteran Service Reps ones, master some of the information so they can pass their state accreditation test. And after they pass that, then they have a federal accreditation and national accreditation. So this isn't a plug and play job. This is 2 years of training just to get someone up to speed. And so in my position, it's really difficult for me to be able to provide all that training time, attend the meetings and functions that I need to attend to. A big part of my job is doing outreach, and then just kind of doing the daily functionings of the job. And then again, like I said, looking forward to expanding it into the rural areas.
Thank you. That answered that. Emma, do I still have the floor? I said I had a lot of questions today. To the qualifications for the 2 positions, the supervising position and the representative 2, where it says experience, I wanted to ask, is there a reason that we have excluded it only to San Joaquin County service?
Where are you referring to?
It says experience, 2 years as veteran service representative 2 in San Joaquin County service. Does that isolate that only to someone who is already employed at San Joaquin County?
We also
I'll
have
have-
or pattern 2.
Yeah.
So they can have 1
Did
year
I miss that?
experience as a veteran services one. Are we looking at the 1 or the 2? Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at both of them. Did that one get
Okay.
changed on the 2? I'm looking at the 1 and the supervisor, and I don't have the amended one here. I don't think. Or am I not seeing it?
Not seeing it.
So this happens frequently where you have 2 different patterns of qualifying for the position. And the first one is often, not always, service within San Joaquin County, because if you've had this particular position, you've been a 1, then we know you're qualified for the 2. And if you haven't done that in San Joaquin County, then it's made up elsewhere, like experience equivalent to what they would have been doing, and you can also often substitute education for a year. So did I
Is that-
summarize that just fine?
Is that in here?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it says or
Can
pattern.
you show me?
Yeah. Or pattern 2. So they
Okay.
can either do
All right.
pattern 1 or
Okay.
pattern 2. So we have it both. We did not want to exclude any outside
Okay.
candidates specifically.
And please don't take my questions as opposing veteran
good.
service. Being a veteran myself, I appreciate everything you guys do. I really do.
They do.
Yes, I do too. And this is Anthony Gutierrez. And where is the office physically, the veterans office?
Susan?
Anthony, we have relocated to the EEDD WorkNet building, which is on Swain and West Lane, as across from the older Holiday Movie Theater and in the same parking lot as the King's Card Room.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we had offices there. And are we coordinating, do we coordinate with the new medical facility, the federal medical facility that is in French Camp? Is there
Yes,
coordination?
and that's another, yeah, absolutely. So, I've just been doing this for about a year and a half, and so we've had some significant changes. So one of the things was I did want to move us out of our prior location. The veterans had expressed safety concerns and other things, so now we have security available here and, more accessible parking, which is really helpful for our veteran clients. And then, I do have a really strong relationship. I used to be a VHA employee myself, a clinician, so I've got great relationships with our current CBOT. Northern California to go over for Palo Alto Healthcare. So there's been a lot of changes with that too. But I'm there on I started something called Mount with me 2 weeks to just.
It's a little garbled,
Yeah.
our hearing, but I appreciate everything you're doing for the veterans. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions related to? Susan, you are breaking up so much that we can no longer hear you.
Okay, there she goes. She muted. She muted. So she-
Okay, but before we vote, I want to thank you for coming to the meeting and discussing the program. We do appreciate that. Do I hear a motion to adopt the classification specialist for supervising veteran service representative and amend the classification specification for veteran service representative 2?
I so move.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And oppose? And the motion is passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, we are moving to Amy.
Good afternoon, Chair Lofstrom, Commissioners. This item requests that you establish another new classification, Marketing and Business Development Director, Administrator, Classification Project 23-027. So this project to establish a new Marketing and Business Development Administrator classification combines requests from 2 county departments, San Joaquin General Hospital and the Stockton Metropolitan Airport. While both of these enterprise fund departments have distinct needs within their respective industries, the core nature of work and skills required to perform what was requested share a similar purpose and candidate profile. So we're establishing one single classification that can be used immediately or as necessary for the 2 requesting departments, and then any in the future where there is that need. So for the hospital, a position assigned to this new class will plan and implement marketing strategies, as well as plan, analyze, and launch new business development opportunities that complement the hospital's strategic goals, particularly with regard to awareness of and the ability to react to the changing needs of the community, as well as of our competitors. The airport's need includes the ability to assign a position to independently work on the design, development, and marketing of quality aviation services and facilities offerings in order to leverage those, the potential for stronger revenue streams. And business development and relationship management will be key to this role. Minimum qualifications for the class overall will be anchored by previous marketing and business development experience, and a portion of this experience may be required to have been in the industry or functional area of assignment. On November 29th, SEIU was provided the class specification before you and responded that it had no issues with it. If you have questions regarding this classification of the departments, we do have the airport director here, Richard Sokol, attending remotely.
Thank you. Is there,
I just would like to make a comment about.
Okay.
I think it's so important that these 2 jobs are made. We have such a great resource there with the airport, and there's just so much change taking place, and there's so much need for more transportation. And our hospital too, there's so much things that are happening in healthcare, and we do need more development of both the airport and our hospital. I think it's really very good that we're doing this. It's very good for our county.
Thank you.
And are there any further questions or comments? I have none either. I appreciate the efficiency of combining the two positions into one. That made a lot of sense to me. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the classification specification for Marketing and Business Development Administrator.
Am I wrong? Aren't there going to be two positions, one for the airport and one for the hospital? They're going to be just one?
Amy, you want?
Sure. So we're establishing a classification, and a classification is intended to be a group of similarly situated positions with rather not necessarily the same, but the nature of the work itself is the same, as well as the level of responsibility and those key factors. So yes, there
Yes.
will be two positions that we're potentially immediately in need of for each of those respective departments using the one same classification.
Right, that's
Yeah.
that's what I was hoping for, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now I understand it, and I do move to approve these.
A second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And the motion has passed. We move now to public comment.
We have no online public comment. Is there anyone on site that would like to address the commission? No public comment.
Okay, thank you. Before we adjourn the meeting, I wanted to remind you that I will be out on March, and I'll remind you again in January and February. So with that, this meeting's adjourned.